Welcome to Imagine BL Story. My name is Riev, and I'm wishing you a joyful, exciting, and love-filled holiday season. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy today's holiday special story. The apartment was cold again. Leanne Everett pulled his worn cardigan tighter and checked the thermostat. 62 degrees, which was as high as he could afford to keep it in December. Outside the window of their third-floor walk-up, Detroit was covered in the kind of picturesque snow that looked beautiful in Christmas movies and felt like frozen misery when you were walking through it to catch the bus at 5 a.m. "Papa, I can see my breath," Zoe called from her tiny bedroom, her 5-year-old voice delighted by something that made Leanne's chest ache with guilt. "Like a dragon. That's very cool, baby. Now get dressed. We need to leave in 15 minutes. Leanne moved to the kitchen, started the coffee maker that was held together with duct tape and hope, and pulled out the last 2 Pop-Tarts from the box. One for Zoe, one split between them because payday wasn't until Friday and the grocery budget was already stretched thin. This was fine. This was normal. This was what the past 5 years had looked like. Making it work, stretching every dollar, ensuring Zoe had everything she needed, even if Leanne had nothing left over. Zoe appeared in her kindergarten uniform, secondhand, but clean and pressed because Leanne was careful about that. She looked so much like her father it physically hurt sometimes. Same dark brown eyes, same thick black hair that refused to be tamed, same smile that could light up a room. And already, even at 5, her alpha scent was starting to develop, subtle but unmistakable. That cedar and sunshine combination that made other kids naturally gravitate toward her. Isaiah's smile, Isaiah's eyes, but an alpha like Isaiah too. "Papa, how many days until Christmas?" Zoe climbed into her chair, accepted her Pop-Tart with the serious concentration of a food critic. 10 days, sweetheart. Do you think Santa got my letter?" Leanne's throat tightened. Zoe had been writing to Santa since she was 3, and every year the request was the same. "I want my daddy to come home." This year she'd been more specific, more heartbreaking. Leanne had found the letter before Zoe could mail it, had read it with tears streaming down his face. "Dear Santa, I want a daddy for Christmas. Not a new one. My real one. Papa has his picture in the drawer he thinks I don't know about. He has dark hair like me and Papa says he had to go away but didn't want to. Can you find him and bring him home? I promise I'll be extra good. Love, Zoe." "I'm sure Santa got it," Leanne said, hating himself for the lie. "But remember, sweetheart, Santa can't always bring exactly what we ask for. Sometimes, I know, sometimes Santa has to make hard choices because there are lots of kids." Zoe took a bite of Pop-Tart. "But Papa, I don't want toys. I just want a daddy. That should be easier than bringing toys to everyone. Right?" Leanne's Omega scent, honey and chamomile, usually soft and comforting, went sharp with distress before he could suppress it. "Baby, we've talked about this. Your father didn't leave because he didn't love you. He didn't even know about you. He had to go away before I could tell him. But you know where he is, right? You could tell him now. It's complicated. That's what you always say." Zoe's bottom lip trembled, her young alpha sense spiking with distress in response to Leanne's Omega emotions. Already so attuned to him. "Don't you think he'd want to know about me?" Yes, Leanne thought. God, yes, Isaiah would want to know. Isaiah would have wanted to be there for every moment. The pregnancy, the birth, the first steps, all of it. But Isaiah had left. Had disappeared in the middle of the night 6 years ago without a word, without explanation. And when Leanne had finally tracked him down months later, pregnant and desperate, Isaiah had become unreachable. A billionaire CEO living in a different world, surrounded by security and assistants and people whose job it was to keep desperate ex-boyfriends away. Leanne had tried, had called, emailed, even shown up at Westfield Industries once when he was 8 months pregnant and terrified. Security had escorted him out, and the message had been clear. Isaiah Westfield had moved on. So Leanne had moved on too, or tried to. "Eat your breakfast," Leanne said, changing the subject before his Omega instincts could broadcast more distress that would upset his alpha daughter. "We need to catch the 6:15 bus." The morning routine was practice chaos. Getting Zoe to school, rushing to his temp job at a corporate law office where he filed papers and answered phones and tried to be invisible. His Omega scent was easy to suppress with the prescription suppressants he could barely afford, and most people assumed he was a beta anyway. Easier that way. Fewer questions, fewer problems, fewer alphas thinking they could solve his life by offering to take care of him. Leanne had been taking care of himself just fine for 5 years. Thank you very much. Lunch was a granola bar eaten at his desk. The afternoon was more filing, more phones, more existing in the background of other people's important lives. At 4 p.m. he clocked out, picked up Zoe from after-school care, brought her home and got her settled with homework and cartoons while he changed into his catering uniform. "Mrs. Fan is coming to watch you," Lien said, kissing Zoe's forehead. "Be good for her, okay? Where are you going?" "Catering job. Christmas party." Lien grabbed his coat. Thin, inadequate, but it was what he had. "I'll be back by 11. You'll be asleep, but I'll check on you." "Do they have good food at Christmas parties?" "Probably. Will you bring me some?" Lien's chest ached. "If I can, baby. I'll try." The catering company then picked him up at 5:30, and Lien spent the drive downtown trying not to think about how he was working his third job of the day while other people attended Christmas parties. The venue was the Westfield Industries headquarters, a gleaming tower of glass and steel that Lien had once stood outside, pregnant and desperate, before security had turned him away. He hadn't known he'd be working an event here. The catering manager had just said, "Corporate holiday gala? High-profile client. Everyone needs to be professional." Professional, right? Lien could do professional. He could definitely be professional while catering a party at his ex-boyfriend's company, where said ex-boyfriend had built a billion-dollar empire while Lien had been raising their alpha daughter in poverty. This was fine. Everything was fine. The ballroom was excessive in that way only corporate Christmas parties could be. Massive tree covered in gold ornaments, ice sculptures, champagne fountains, a live orchestra playing classical arrangements of carols. The guests were the kind of beautiful people Lien had stopped believing were real. Alphas in custom tuxedos, omegas in designer gowns and tux. Everyone sent carefully modulated to project success and sophistication. Lien felt completely out of place in his cheap catering uniform, but that was fine. He wasn't here to be seen. He was here to work, earn $200 for the night, and get home to his daughter. He made it exactly 45 minutes before everything fell apart. Lien was refilling the champagne display when he caught the scent. Sandalwood and expensive coffee and winter mornings. A scent he tried to forget for 6 years and failed completely. His Omega instincts recognized it before his brain caught up. His body responding with a flood of warmth and longing and pain. No, couldn't be. Except when Lien looked up, there he was. Isaiah Westfield stood across the ballroom in a tuxedo, his dark hair styled perfectly, his alpha presence commanding attention from everyone in the vicinity. He looked older, sharper, more refined, the boy Lien had loved in college replaced by a man who'd built an empire. And he was looking directly at Lien. Their eyes met across the room, and Isaiah's expression shifted through shock, recognition, disbelief. He started moving immediately, cutting through the crowd with alpha determination, and Lien's Omega instincts screamed at him to run. So he did. Lien abandoned the champagne, headed for the service entrance, but Isaiah was faster. The alpha caught his arm just as Lien reached the hallway, spinning him around. "Lien." Isaiah's voice was exactly as Lien remembered. Deep, warm, devastating. "Lien, is that really you? Let go of me." Lien pulled his arm free, his Omega sense spiking with distress despite the suppressants. "I'm working. I can't. I have to." "You're working." Isaiah's dark eyes swept over the catering uniform, and something like pain crossed his face. His alpha pheromones shifted, becoming more intense, possessive. "Here? You're working a catering job. Not all of us are billionaires. Some of us have to actually work for a living." "That's not what Lien, I've been looking for you. Where did you go? Why did you disappear?" The audacity of that question made Lien laugh bitter, sharp. His Omega scent went acrid with old hurt. "Where did I go? You left. You disappeared in the middle of the night. I waited for weeks. My father had a stroke. I had to leave school immediately. The company was collapsing. The board demanded I take over. I came back for you, but you were gone." Isaiah's alpha scent was flooding the hallway now, thick with distress and confusion and something that made Lien's Omega biology want to comfort him. Lien shoved down the instinct. "You came back. 6 weeks later. You'd withdrawn from school. Your apartment was empty. Your phone was disconnected. I hired investigators. They couldn't find any record of you anywhere." Isaiah's hands came up like he wanted to touch Lien, his alpha instincts clearly demanding he comfort his distressed Omega, then fell. "I thought maybe you didn't want to be found. That you decided you didn't want." Lien interrupted, his voice flat, his Omega scent bitter. "I was pregnant with complications. got kicked out of student housing and I couldn't afford an apartment and moved a lot. So yeah, I was pretty hard to find. Isaiah went absolutely still, his alpha scent spiking sharply. Pregnant. Lien's heart was pounding. He hadn't meant to say that. Hadn't meant to reveal anything. But 6 years of exhaustion and resentment and grief were spilling out. I tried to find you, Lien continued, his omega scent sharp with old pain. When I was 8 months along and terrified, I came here, to this building. Security threw me out. Said Isaiah Westfield didn't take meetings with random omegas making claims. No. Isaiah's face had gone pale, his alpha pheromones flooding with distress so powerful that several nearby staff members looked over. No, I never knew. If I'd known. Well, you didn't, and I handled it, like I've handled everything else for the past 5 years. Lien stepped back, putting distance between. Now if you'll excuse me, I have a job to do, and you have a party to host. Lien, wait, the baby. What happened? Is there? I lost it. Early on. The lie tasted like ash, but Lien forced it out anyway. His omega scent deliberately neutral despite the turmoil inside. Stress of being homeless and alone. So you don't have to worry about any obligations or complications. You're free. Isaiah's alpha scent flooded with grief, so profound that Lien's omega instincts physically hurt. His body demanding he comfort this alpha. Soothe the pain. I'm so sorry. God, Lien, I'm so sorry. If I'd been there. But you weren't. And I survived. And now I need to get back to work before I get fired for talking to guests. You're not working the rest of this party. I'll pay you whatever they're paying. I don't want your money. Lien's voice was sharp, his omega scent protective of his pride. I don't want your pity. I just want to be left alone. I don't pity you. I want to talk. Really talk. About what happened. About why I left. About Mr. Westfield? A woman in an expensive dress appeared, her omega scent cloying and deliberate as she tried to appeal to the alpha. They're ready for your speech. Isaiah didn't look away from Lien, his alpha focus entirely on his omega. Tell them I'll be there in 5 minutes. But 5 minutes. The alpha command in his voice made the woman flinch and retreat, responding to his dominance. You should go, Lien said. Give your speech. I don't care about the speech. Care about you. About what I missed. About. Isaiah's hand reached out, hesitated, his alpha instincts warring with respect for Lien's boundaries. Please, can we talk? Tomorrow? Coffee? Anywhere you want. Just, please don't disappear again. Lien should say no. Should protect himself and Zoe and the fragile life they'd built. Should run before Isaiah could unravel all of it. But his omega instincts were screaming about his alpha. About the mate bond that had never broken despite 6 years apart. About the scent that still felt like home even after everything. Fine. Coffee. Tomorrow at noon. There's a place on Halstead called Brood Awakening. Lien pulled out his phone, typed in his number, handed it to Isaiah. Text me if you change your mind. I won't change my mind. Isaiah's fingers brushed Lien's as he took the phone, and the contact sent electricity through both of them, alpha and omega pheromones responding. I've been looking for you for 6 years. Lien. I'm not letting you go now that I found you. We'll see. Lien pulled away, headed back to the party. Now go give your speech before your assistant has a breakdown. He didn't look back, but he could feel Isaiah's eyes on him the entire night, could smell the alpha's scent following him through the ballroom, thick with longing and regret and something that felt dangerously close to hope. When Lien got home at 11:30, Mrs. Fan informed him that Zoe had spent the evening making a new letter to Santa. More detailed, more desperate. Lien found it on the kitchen table after the babysitter left, his daughter's young alpha scent still clinging to the paper. Dear Santa, it's me again, Zoe. I know I already wrote to you, but I wanted to make sure you got it right. I don't want toys for Christmas. I want my daddy. Papa keeps his picture in the drawer with the important papers. His name is Isaiah and he has dark hair like me, and Papa's eyes get sad when I ask about him. Papa says he had to go away and didn't know about me, but I think if we found him and told him, he would want to come home. Please, Santa. I've been so good this year. I help Papa even when I'm tired. I don't complain when we eat sandwiches for dinner again. I share my toys at school. I'm trying really hard. All I want is a daddy for Christmas. My real daddy. The one Papa still loves even though he pretends he doesn't. Please bring him home. Love, Zoe. Guess if you can't find him, can you at least make Papa smile more? He's always sad at Christmas. Lien read the letter 3 times, his vision blurring with tears, his Omega sent heavy with grief, and made a decision. He had to tell Isaiah the truth. Not tonight, not yet, but soon. Before Zoe's heart broke from hoping for something that might never come. Before Lien's heart broke from seeing Isaiah again and remembering everything they'd lost. Soon. The coffee shop was crowded with holiday shoppers. The air thick with the smell of peppermint lattes and gingerbread. Lien arrived 10 minutes early, claimed a corner table, and tried to calm his Omega scent that kept spiking with anxiety. Isaiah arrived exactly on time, somehow managing to make jeans and a sweater look expensive. His alpha scent cut through the coffee shop smells immediately. Sandalwood and winter mornings, commanding and warm. And Lien's Omega biology responded with a purr he had to physically suppress. Hi! Isaiah slid into the seat across from him, his dark eyes searching Lien's face like he was memorizing it, his alpha pheromones reaching out. Thank you for meeting me. I said I would. I know, but I was afraid you'd change your mind. Isaiah ordered coffee when the waitress appeared, then turned his full attention back to Lien, his alpha focus intense. I need to explain what happened 6 years ago. Really explain. You said your father had a stroke. He did, right before finals. I was in my apartment when I got the call. He'd collapsed at the office, massive stroke. They didn't know if he'd survive. Isaiah's hands wrapped around his coffee mug, his alpha scent tightening with remembered pain. I left for the hospital immediately. Didn't even think to grab my phone charger. He was in surgery for 8 hours. Lien's Omega instincts were responding to the pain in Isaiah's scent despite his best efforts. His body wanting to comfort. I'm sorry. I didn't know. How could you? I didn't tell you. Didn't tell anyone. Isaiah's jaw tightened. While he was in surgery, the board called an emergency meeting. The company was his life's work, and without him, it was falling apart. They demanded I step up immediately. Drop out of school, take over as CEO, learn everything overnight, or watch it all collapse. You were 23 and completely unprepared. But I didn't have a choice. My father survived the surgery, but the stroke left him partially paralyzed, unable to speak clearly. Everything fell on me. Isaiah's eyes met Lien's, his alpha scent vulnerable. I meant to call you, meant to explain, but my phone died that first night, and in the chaos I forgot to charge it. By the time I remembered 2 days later, I dropped it and shattered it completely. You could have bought a new phone. I did, but I didn't have your number memorized. It was saved in the old phone. I was working 18-hour days trying to save the company, and every spare minute I was at the hospital with my father. Isaiah's voice was rough with regret. 6 weeks later, when things finally stabilized enough for me to breathe, I drove back to campus. Your dorm was empty. The housing office said you'd withdrawn. I checked with your professors. They said you'd disappeared mid-semester. Lien's throat was tight, his Omega sense softening with understanding. It was because of the complications. I was bleeding and in pain, and the campus health center said I needed to see a specialist. But I didn't have insurance without being enrolled, and I couldn't afford to stay enrolled without the scholarship I lost by missing too many classes. God, Lien. I got kicked out of housing for not paying. Spent 2 weeks living in my car before an Omega shelter took me in. The memories were painful, sharper now with Isaiah sitting across from him, his alpha scent wrapping around Lien protectively even now. I tried to find you, looked you up online, found articles about the new CEO of Westfield Industries. You looked so different, so polished and successful and completely unreachable. I was a mess. I was drowning. Isaiah's hand reached across the table, hesitated. I hired investigators to find you, spent thousands of dollars. They found nothing. You'd completely disappeared from any system they could track. I was using my mother's maiden name. For safety, the shelter required it. A fresh start. No one from our past able to find us. Lien stared at Isaiah's hand, so close to his Omega instincts wanting the touch. Why? Why spend thousands looking for some college boyfriend who disappeared? Because you weren't some college boyfriend. I know we just started dating back then. Isaiah's voice was fierce, his alpha pheromones spiking with intensity. But you were everything. You were the person I wanted to build a life with. I was going to propose, Lien. That last night before my father's stroke, I had a ring. The words hit like a physical blow. Lien's Omega scent flooded with grief and longing, his pheromones betraying his emotions. You were going to propose? I'd been carrying the ring for 2 months. Was planning to ask you after graduation. Isaiah finally closed the distance, his hand covering Lien's, alpha warmth seeping into Omega skin. And then everything fell apart and I lost you, and I spent 6 years comparing every Omega I met to you and finding them lacking because none of them were you. Lien should pull his hand away, should maintain distance, should protect himself. Instead, he turned his palm up, let their fingers lace together, felt his Omega biology sing at the alpha contact, and felt 6 years of walls crumbling. I never dated anyone after you, Lien admitted quietly, his Omega scent honest now. Couldn't. You were it for me. Then let's try again. Let's. Isaiah. Lien pulled his hand back, needing distance to say this, his Omega scent shifting to protective. I lied. Last night. About the pregnancy. Isaiah went completely still, his alpha scent sharpening with immediate focus. What? I didn't lose the baby. I had her. 5 years ago. Her name is Zoe. Lien's voice was shaking now, his Omega pheromones broadcasting fear and defiance. And she looks exactly like you. She's an alpha. Your alpha daughter. The color drained from Isaiah's face, his alpha scent exploding with shock and overwhelming emotion. You have a daughter. We have an alpha daughter. Yes, we do. I have a... Isaiah's breath came short, his alpha scent spiking so powerfully that other patrons looked over, responding to the pheromone surge. You've been raising my child alone for 5 years? While I really did try to tell you. Lien's hands were shaking, his scent sharp with old pain. But after that day at your office, I just stopped trying. Figured you'd made your choice. I never made that choice. I never knew. Isaiah's voice was raw, his alpha pheromones flooding the space with distress. Lien, if I'd known. If anyone had told me you were there. But they didn't. And I had to manage. 3 jobs. No help. Raising a little alpha girl who asks me every Christmas why her daddy doesn't want her. Isaiah's face crumpled, his alpha scent breaking with grief. She thinks I don't want her? She thinks you had to go away. That's what I tell her. That you loved her but you had to leave and you didn't know about her. Lien wiped his eyes angrily. What else could I say? That I tried to tell you and you were unreachable? That you built a fortune while we struggled to afford groceries? Lien. She writes letters to Santa every year, asking for you. Just you. Not toys, not money. Just her father. Lien pulled out his phone, showed Isaiah the photo he'd taken of Zoe's latest letter, watched his alpha's scent spike with pain. This is what she wants for Christmas. Her real daddy. The one I've kept a picture of even though it hurts to look at it. Isaiah read the letter, his hands shaking, his alpha scent flooding with grief and love and desperate need so powerful that Lien's Omega instincts physically ached to comfort him. When Isaiah looked up, there were tears in his eyes. Can I meet her? Please. I know I have no right. I know I wasn't there. But please, let me meet my daughter. Lien's Omega instincts were screaming yes, his body responding to his alpha's desperate need, but his brain knew better. She can't know who you are. Not yet. Not until we figure this out. Figure what out? If you actually want to be in her life or if this is just guilt and obligation talking. Lien's voice was firm despite the tears, his pheromones suddenly protective. I won't let you meet her. Let her get attached, and then leave when it gets hard. She's already spent 5 years wondering why her father doesn't love her. I won't let you make it worse. I would never. You don't know that. You don't know what it's like to be a parent, to have someone depending on you completely. It's hard and exhausting, and there's no quitting when things get difficult. Lien stood, needed distance from the alpha pheromones clouding his judgment. So if you want to meet Zoe, you need to prove you're serious. That you're not going to break her heart. How? How do I prove that? Isaiah's alpha scent was begging, desperate. The Christmas toy drive. This Saturday at Lincoln Park Community Center. I volunteer there every year. They pay a small stipend and Zoe comes with me because I can't afford a sitter. Lien grabbed his coat. If you show up, if you actually want to be part of her life, then we'll talk about you meeting her properly. But Isaiah, if you're not completely sure, don't come. Because I'd rather she never know you than know you and lose you. Lien left before Isaiah could respond. His Omega scent heavy with grief and hope and terror, and tried to ignore how his heart was screaming that he just made the biggest mistake of his life. Or maybe the best decision. He wouldn't know until Saturday. The Lincoln Park Community Center smelled like pine and cider, and the particular chaos of 50-plus volunteers trying to organize thousands of donated toys for Detroit's underprivileged children. Lien had been coming here for 3 years, the stipend helped, but mostly he liked seeing Zoe's face light up helping other kids. "Papa, can I sort the stuffed animals?" Zoe bounced on her toes, already wearing the volunteer t-shirt that was 3 sizes too big. Her young alpha scent, Cedar and Sunshine, was bright with excitement, naturally drawing other volunteers to smile at her. "Sure, baby. Just stay where I can see you." The morning passed in organized chaos. Toys sorted by age and type, families coming through to select gifts, children's laughter mixing with Christmas carols playing over the speakers. Lien was helping a mother choose presents for her 3 kids when Zoe's voice cut through the noise. "Papa, Papa, look." Lien turned, and his heart stopped. "Whoa, you're still here, and that makes me happy. So tell me, what's the most meaningful Christmas gift you've ever received? Share it in the comments below. Now let's continue." Isaiah Westfield stood in the doorway wearing jeans and a Westfield Industries volunteer shirt, his dark eyes scanning the crowd until they landed on Lien. The alpha's scent, sandalwood and coffee and winter mornings, cut through the space like a blade, so powerful that several Omegas in the vicinity turned to look, their biology responding to the commanding presence. He came. Isaiah actually came. "Who's that?" Zoe was suddenly at Lien's side, her young alpha instincts immediately recognizing another alpha, stronger, more dominant, but not threatening. "He smells nice, like trees and morning." Lien's voice caught, his Omega sense spiking with anxiety and hope. "He's one of the corporate sponsors, probably here for photo opportunities." Except Isaiah wasn't looking at the cameras or the volunteers or the perfectly staged toy displays. He was looking at Zoe like she was the only person in the room, and Lien watched his alpha's face transform as recognition hit. The dark hair, the eyes, the smile that was pure Westfield genetics. And underneath it all, the unmistakable scent of a young alpha, his daughter, his blood. Isaiah crossed the space slowly, his alpha pheromones carefully controlled but intense, and Lien's Omega instincts were screaming danger and home and mine all at once. "Hi," Isaiah said, and his voice was steady despite his scent flooding with overwhelming emotion. "I'm Isaiah. I'm here to help with the toy drive." "I'm Zoe." She stuck out her hand with the serious formality of a kindergartner, her young alpha scent brightening with interest. "I'm 5. Do you like stuffed animals? Because I'm in charge of sorting them, and it's very important work." Isaiah shook her hand carefully, like she was made of glass, his alpha scent wrapping around her protectively in a way that made Lien's Omega biology recognize. "Mine, protect, family. I love stuffed animals, and important work is my favorite kind. You can help me then. Papa says I need to stay where he can see me, so you have to work at this table." Zoe grabbed Isaiah's hand, her small fingers wrapping around his larger ones, and Lien watched his daughter, their daughter, completely oblivious to the fact that she was holding her father's hand for the first time. Isaiah looked back at Lien, his expression asking permission. Lien nodded, not trusting his voice, his pheromones broadcasting acceptance despite his fear. For the next 2 hours, Lien watched Isaiah and Zoe sort toys together. Watched the alpha listen with complete attention while Zoe explained the difference between good bears and okay bears, his alpha pheromones warm and engaged. Watched Isaiah laugh, really laugh, not the polite CEO laugh but genuine delight. When Zoe demonstrated her very scientific sorting method, his scent bright with joy. Watched his daughter fall completely in love with a stranger who was her father and didn't know it yet. "He's good with her." The volunteer coordinator, Maria, appeared at Lien's elbow. "That's Isaiah Westfield, right? The billionaire? Didn't expect him to actually get his hands dirty." "Yeah, he's surprising." Lien's Omega scent was soft with emotion. Zoe seemed smitten. "She hasn't stopped talking since he got here." Maria smiled, and he looks at her like she hung the moon. "You okay? You look like you might cry." It's been a long week." Lien wiped his eyes, his pheromones betraying his emotions. "I'm fine." Except he wasn't fine. He was watching his daughter with her father, watching Isaiah be gentle and patient and everything Lien had dreamed of when Zoe was born, and his heart was breaking and healing simultaneously. Around 2 p.m., they broke for lunch, sandwiches and cookies donated by a local bakery. Zoe insisted Isaiah sit with them, and Lien found himself at a table with his daughter and his ex-boyfriend, who was trying very hard not to stare at the child who looked exactly like him, who carried his alpha genetics, who was everything he'd never known he'd created. "Papa, can I tell Isaiah about my Santa letter?" Zoe asked through a mouthful of cookie, her alpha scent excited. Baby, don't talk with your mouth full. But it's important. Zoe swallowed dramatically. I wrote to Santa asking for something very special. Isaiah's eyes met Lien's over Zoe's head. His alpha scent tightening with tension. What did you ask for? I can't tell you. It's a secret between Santa and me. But Papa knows. Zoe turned to Lien, her young alpha instincts reading his Omega distress. Right, Papa? You know what I asked for? Lien's throat was tight, his Omega scent going protective. I know, sweetheart. Do you think Santa will bring it? I don't know. Santa can't always give us exactly what we ask for. But I've been so good this year, and I didn't ask for toys or anything expensive. Just... Zoe stopped, looked at Isaiah seriously, her alpha scent curious. Do you believe in Christmas miracles? Isaiah's voice was rough, his alpha pheromones thick with emotion. I didn't used to, but I'm starting to. Me too. Zoe smiled, that Westfield smile that made Lien's chest ache. Because Papa says my daddy had to go away a long time ago, but didn't want to, and I think if Santa can find him and tell him about me, maybe he'll come home. That would be a Christmas miracle, right? The table went absolutely silent. Isaiah's alpha scent flooded with such powerful emotion that every Omega in the vicinity turned to look, their biology responding to the pheromone surge. Grief and love and desperate longing so intense it was almost physical. His hands were shaking as he set down his sandwich. His dark eyes locked on Zoe's face. Your daddy. Isaiah's voice cracked. You asked Santa to bring your daddy home? Aha. Papa has his picture. He looks. Zoe tilted her head, studying Isaiah with the intensity only children possess. Her young alpha instincts processing something and her eyes sharpened with intelligence far too advanced for her age. He looks like you, actually. Same hair. Same eyes. And you smell like how I think my daddy would smell. Like trees and morning and safe. That's funny, right? Lien couldn't breathe. This was it, the moment where everything either fell apart or came together. Where Zoe either figured it out or remained blissfully ignorant a little longer. His Omega scent was spiking with panic, filling the space. Zoe, baby, why don't you? Wait. Isaiah's hand came up, gentle but firm, his alpha pheromones commanding attention. His eyes were still on Zoe, drinking her in like he was memorizing every detail. Zoe, can I tell you something? Isaiah. Lien started, his Omega instincts protective. I think your papa might have a picture of me, in a drawer with important papers. A picture from a long time ago when I looked younger. Zoe's eyes went wide, her alpha scent sharpening with understanding. How did you know about the drawer? Because I know your papa. We knew each other before you were born. Isaiah's voice was steady despite the tears running down his face, his pheromones flooding with love so powerful that Lien's Omega biology physically ached. And I think I might be the person you've been asking Santa to find. The entire community center had gone quiet, volunteers stopping to watch, phones coming out. But Lien could only see his daughter's face as understanding slowly dawned, her young alpha instincts recognizing the truth. Zoe's small voice was uncertain, her alpha scent confused. You're my daddy? Yes. Isaiah's hands were shaking. I'm your daddy, sweetheart. I didn't know about you until a few days ago, but God, I'm so happy to meet you. But Papa said you had to go away, that you didn't know about me. Zoe looked between them, confusion and hope warring on her face, her alpha scent seeking reassurance. Did Santa tell you? Did he bring you here? Something like that. Isaiah's eyes found Lien's, asking permission. Lien nodded, crying now, unable to stop it. Isaiah slid off his chair, knelt beside the table so he was eye level with Zoe. I had to go away because my daddy, your grandpa, got very sick and I had to take care of him and his company. I didn't know your papa was going to have you. If I'd known, I would have come back immediately. I would have been there for everything. Really? Zoe's bottom lip trembled. Her young alpha scent vulnerable in a way alphas rarely allowed themselves to be. You're not just saying that? Really? I promise. Isaiah's hand came up slowly, carefully, giving Zoe time to pull away. When she didn't, he cupped her small face with devastating gentleness, his pheromones wrapping around her protectively. You're the most amazing surprise I've ever had. And I know I missed a lot. I wasn't there when you were born or when you learned to walk or for any of your birthdays. But if you'll let me, I'd like to be here for everything from now on. Would you like that? To have your daddy around? Like a real daddy? Zoe's voice was small, hopeful. Like a real daddy. Forever. Zoe launched herself at Isaiah, tiny arms wrapping around his neck. Her young alpha sent flooding with joy and acceptance, and Lien watched his alpha, his mate, his Zoe's father, hold their daughter for the first time and completely break down. Isaiah was crying, Zoe was crying, Lien was crying, and half the volunteers were crying, and somewhere in the background someone was taking photos, and this was definitely going to end up on social media, but Lien couldn't bring himself to care, because his daughter had asked Santa for a Christmas miracle. And Santa apparently had delivered. The aftermath was chaos. Volunteers congratulating them. Maria crying happy tears. Someone from the local news asking for an interview that Lien firmly declined. Isaiah kept Zoe close the entire time, his alpha instincts refusing to let her go, like he was afraid she'd disappear if he let go. And Zoe chattered nonstop about everything she wanted to show her daddy and tell him and share with him now that he was finally here. By the time the toy drive wound down, Zoe had crashed hard, all the excitement catching up to her. She fell asleep against Isaiah's chest while he sat on a folding chair, his pheromones wrapped around her protectively, and Lien took a photo because the sight of them together, alpha father and alpha daughter, was something he wanted to remember forever. I should get her home, Lien said quietly, gathering their things, his Omega scent soft and protective. It's past her nap time and she's going to be cranky when she wakes up. Can I drive you? Isaiah looked up, his dark eyes pleading, his alpha pheromones reaching for Lien desperately. Please? I'm not ready to. I don't want to say goodbye yet. You have a car seat? I'll buy one. Right now. There's a store 3 blocks away. Isaiah was already pulling out his phone. Or I'll have one delivered to wherever we are. Just, please let me take you home. Lien should say no. Should establish boundaries. Should protect himself and Zoe from getting too attached too quickly. But his Omega biology was singing with contentment at seeing his alpha with their daughter, and Zoe had been asking for this for 5 years, and maybe, just maybe, they deserve to have this. Okay, but Isaiah, when Zoe wakes up, we need to have a real conversation. About what this means. About what you want. About how this is going to work. I want everything. I want to be her father. I want to be in her life. I want. Isaiah's free hand found Lien's, his alpha sent desperate and hopeful. I want us to try again. You, me, Zoe. A real family. That's a lot. I know. And I know I have to earn it. But Lien, I meant what I said 6 years ago, you're it for me. And now we have a daughter and she's perfect and I've already fallen completely in love with her. Isaiah's thumb stroked over Lien's knuckles, his alpha pheromones warm and possessive. So I'm not going anywhere. Not unless you make me. And even then, I'm going to fight to stay. Lien's Omega scent flooded with hope despite his best efforts, responding to his alpha's determination. You say that now, and I'll say it tomorrow, and the day after, and every day for the rest of my life if that's what it takes to prove I'm serious. Isaiah stood carefully, cradling Zoe against his chest with natural alpha gentleness. Where do you live? Lien rattled off his address, watched Isaiah text his assistant with one hand while supporting Zoe with the other, and tried to process that this was his life now. That Isaiah Westfield, billionaire CEO, alpha, father of his child, was coming to his tiny apartment and seeing exactly how they'd been living. The car was waiting outside, sleek, expensive, everything Lien's beat-up sedan wasn't. Isaiah's assistant had indeed arranged for a car seat to be delivered and installed quickly, and they drove through Detroit's Christmas-decorated streets in silence, Zoe sleeping peacefully while Lien tried not to panic, his Omega sent tight with anxiety. When they pulled up to his building, old, run down, in a neighborhood that was optimistically called transitional, Isaiah's alpha scent tightened with distress. This is where you live? It's what I can afford. Lien grabbed his bag defensively, his Omega scent protective. Not all of us have trust funds and corporate empires. I wasn't judging. I was. Isaiah looked at the building, at the broken security door and the graffiti on the walls, his alpha instincts clearly screaming about his Omega and his alpha daughter living in unsafe conditions. You've been living here with Zoe? Is it safe? Safe enough. We manage. Lien unbuckled Zoe carefully. You coming up, or are you going to sit here cataloging everything I'm doing wrong? Lien. 3rd floor. Apartment 3C. No elevator. Isaiah followed him up 3 flights of stairs, carrying Zoe like she weighed nothing. His alpha scent broadcasting increasing distress with each floor they climbed, his pheromones going protective and possessive. When Lien unlocked his apartment, small, clean, but obviously threadbare, Isaiah actually made a sound of pain, his alpha biology reacting viscerally to seeing where his Omega and child had been surviving. You've been raising our daughter here. It's clean. It's safe. We have heat and hot water most of the time. Lien took Zoe from Isaiah, carried her to the small bedroom they shared because there was only one bedroom and Lien had given it to his daughter. I do the best I can with what I have. Isaiah stood in the middle of the tiny living room. Futon, small TV, Zoe's toys neatly organized in second-hand bins, and Lien could see him doing math. See him calculating 5 years of poverty, 3 jobs, sacrifices Lien had made so Zoe could have what she needed. I should have been here, Isaiah said quietly, his voice rough. I should have known. Should have found you. But you didn't. And I survived. We both did. Lien came back out, closing Zoe's door quietly. Now are you going to tell me why you look like you're about to have a breakdown in my living room? Your pheromones is making the whole apartment smell like distressed alpha. Because you deserve better than this. Isaiah's voice was rough, his alpha pheromones thick with self-recrimination. Let me help. Let me fix this. I don't need fixing. You need help. There's a difference. Isaiah moved closer, his alpha scent wrapping around Lien possessively. Move in with me, you and Zoe. I have a penthouse with 5 bedrooms. She could have her own room, hell, her own floor. You could quit those jobs, spend time with her, not have to worry about money or heat or… No, Lien. I said no. Lien's pheromones sharpened with stubborn pride, fighting against his instinct to submit to his alpha's clear desire to provide. Still not wanting to admit that his pride was hurt with the alpha's implications that all he had done to take care of their daughter was all of a sudden not good enough. I'm not moving into your penthouse like some kept Omega. I've made it this far on my own. I don't need rescuing. It's not rescuing. It's me being a father, being a partner, taking care of my family. It's what alphas do. We're not your family. Not yet. Lien crossed his arms, his Omega scent defiant. You've known about Zoe for 3 hours. You don't get to upend our entire lives because you feel guilty. This isn't guilt. Then what is it? Obligation? Pity? Alpha instinct to provide for your Omega and child. It's love. Isaiah's voice rose, his alpha presence filling the small space, pheromones commanding and desperate. I love you. I've loved you for 6 years. And I love that little alpha girl in there who has my eyes and your smile and writes letters to Santa asking for me. So forgive me for wanting to give you both everything I couldn't give you before. Lien's breath caught clearly wasn't expecting this level of fierceness in his voice. You can't walk back in and say you love us and expect everything to be okay. I know I have to earn it. But Lien, let me try. Please. Isaiah's hand found his face, thumb stroking his cheekbone. His alpha scent warm and pleading. You've been strong and brave, and you've done everything alone for 5 years. Let me share the load. Let me be what you need. What if what I need is time? Space to figure out if this is real or just chemistry and proximity. Lien's Omega scent was conflicted, wanting to accept, terrified to trust. Then I'll give you time. But I'm not giving you space. I'm going to be here, every day, proving I'm serious. Proving I'm not going anywhere. Isaiah's forehead rested against Lien's, his alpha pheromones wrapping around his Omega possessively. I lost you once because I didn't fight hard enough. I'm not making that mistake again. They stood like that, breathing each other's air, pheromones tangling in the small apartment, and Lien felt his walls crumbling despite his best efforts. Okay, but we do this my way. Slow, carefully. Zoe comes first. Always. And if you hurt her, if you decide this is too hard and you leave, I will make your life hell in ways your corporate rivals could never imagine. Isaiah's smile was soft, his alpha scent warm with affection. Noted. Anything else? Yeah. I miss you so much. So kiss me before I change my mind. Isaiah kissed him like he was claiming something precious, his alpha scent flooding with possession and promise, and Lien let himself fall. Into the kiss, into the hope, into the terrifying possibility that maybe they could have this. His Omega biology sang with rightness, with home, with finally being claimed by his alpha after 6 years of separation. When they broke apart, Isaiah's hands were shaking, his pheromones thick with emotion. I miss you too. So much you have no idea. I know. Stay for dinner, Lien said. Nothing fancy, probably pasta, but stay. Let Zoe wake up and see you here. Let us try this. Yes, God, yes. Anything you want. They made dinner together in Lien's tiny kitchen. Pasta and Jared sauce and salad from a bag. Nothing like the gourmet food Isaiah probably usually ate. But when Zoe woke up and found her daddy still there, setting the table and asking her about her favorite foods, her young alpha scent brightened with pure joy. "You're really staying?" Zoe asked, climbing into Isaiah's lap like she'd been doing it her whole life. "I'm really staying. If you want me to. I want you to. Forever." Zoe hugged him tight, her cedar and sunshine scent mixing with Isaiah's sandalwood. "This is the best Christmas present ever. Better than toys. Better than anything." Isaiah's eyes met Lien's over Zoe's head, both of them crying again, and Lien thought about the years of struggle and loneliness and Zoe's letters to Santa asking for the impossible. And somehow, impossibly, it had happened. The alpha he'd loved and lost was here. And maybe, just maybe, they could build the family they were always meant to be. Even if it took a Christmas miracle to get here. Epilogue 1 year later. Christmas morning in the Westfield penthouse was chaos in the best way possible. Zoe, now 6, her alpha scent stronger and more confident, had woken them up at 5 a.m., demanding they open presents immediately, and Lien had groggily agreed because it was her first Christmas in their new home, and he was still getting used to the idea that this was their life now. "Papa, Daddy, wake up. Santa came." Zoe bounced on their bed, all energy and excitement, her dark hair, so much like Isaiah's, flying everywhere, her young alpha pheromones bright with joy. "Baby, it's 5 in the morning," Lien mumbled, burrowing deeper into Isaiah's arms, sleepy and content. "But it's Christmas." Isaiah laughed, pressing a kiss to Lien's bonding mark, the permanent bite on his neck that announced to the world this Omega was claimed, mated, protected. "Let her have this. She's been patient all week." "She's never patient." "Fair point." Isaiah released him and stood up to scoop Zoe up, making her shriek with laughter, his alpha scent warm with paternal affection. "All right, little alpha. Let's see what Santa brought while your papa wakes up." Lien took his time getting out of bed, pulling on the silk robe Isaiah had bought him. Expensive, ridiculous, but admittedly comfortable, and made his way to the living room where their massive Christmas tree was surrounded by more presents than any 6-year-old needed. "This is excessive," Lien said, accepting the coffee Isaiah handed him. "We talked about this. We talked about me not spoiling her. These are from Santa. I can't control what Santa does." Isaiah pulled him close, scenting him contentedly, his alpha pheromones possessive and satisfied. "You're impossible. You love me anyway." Isaiah's hand found Lien's waist possessively. "Besides, half of these are for you. I don't need. I know you don't need anything. I like giving you things anyway." Isaiah nuzzled into Lien's bonding mark, his alpha biology needing the contact. "Let me spoil my mate. It makes me happy." They'd bonded 6 months ago. A private ceremony with just Zoe and Isaiah's father, recovered enough to attend and already completely in love with his alpha granddaughter. The mate mark on Lien's neck was still new enough that Isaiah scented it obsessively, his alpha biology needing constant reassurance that Lien was his. Not that Lien minded. After 6 years apart, he understood the need for certainty. His Omega instincts purred every time Isaiah scented him, marking him, claiming him. "Can we open presents now?" Zoe demanded, already shaking a large box, her alpha scent impatient. "Yes, sweetheart. Go ahead." The next hour was wrapping paper chaos and delighted squeals and Zoe naming every toy and book and outfit with serious alpha concentration. When she got to the final present, a large envelope addressed to her in Santa's handwriting, Isaiah's assistant had very good penmanship. She opened it with careful reverence. Inside was a letter and a photo. "Dear Zoe, thank you for your letter last year asking me to bring your daddy home. I'm very glad I could help make that Christmas miracle happen. This year, I noticed you didn't ask for anything for yourself. You said you already had everything you wanted, your papa and daddy together, your new home, your new grandpa who tells funny stories. But I wanted to give you something special anyway. So I'm giving you the best present I can think of. A baby brother or sister, coming next summer. You're going to be an amazing big alpha sister. Merry Christmas, sweet girl. Love, Santa." Zoe looked at the photo, an ultrasound image with confusion, her young alpha scent curious. "What is this?" "That," Lien said, his voice shaking with emotion, his Omega scent warm and protective, "is your baby brother or sister. I'm pregnant, sweetheart. You're going to be a big sister." Zoe's face transformed with pure joy, her alpha scent exploding with excitement. "Really? Really?" She launched herself at Lien, hugging him tight, her alpha pheromones gentle and protective, already responding to the pregnancy. Then she grabbed Isaiah too, pulling them both into a group hug. This is the best Christmas ever. Even better than last year when Daddy came home. Isaiah's hand found Lien's stomach, gentle and possessive. We found out last week. Wanted to tell you on Christmas. I'm going to be the best big sister. I'll teach them everything. And protect them from bullies. And share my toys. Well, some of my toys. The good ones. Zoe was already planning, her 6-year-old alpha mind racing ahead. Papa, is the baby going to be an alpha like me and Daddy? We don't know yet, baby. We'll find out when they're born. I hope they're an omega like you, Papa. So we have both kinds in our family. Zoe's alpha scent was accepting, already protective of her unborn sibling. Lien watched his daughter and his mate, thought about the tiny life growing inside him, and felt overwhelmingly grateful for whatever cosmic force had brought them here. 2 years ago, he'd been working 3 jobs in a freezing apartment, convinced he'd never have anything good. Now he was bonded to the alpha he'd loved for 7 years, raising their daughter in a home that was safe and warm, pregnant with their second child, and so happy it sometimes hurt. Thank you, Lien said to Isaiah quietly while Zoe played with her new toys, his omega sense soft with love. For not giving up. For all of this. Thank you for giving me a chance. For letting me be a father. Isaiah's kiss was soft, sweet, his alpha pheromones warm with devotion. I love you. Both of you. All of you. All 3 of us. Lien corrected, hand on his stomach. All 3 of you. Isaiah agreed, his alpha scent flooding with contentment and joy in home. Outside, snow fell over Detroit, blanketing the city in white. Inside, the Westfield family celebrated their second Christmas together, and Zoe added one final line to her letter to Santa before putting it in the special box where she kept important things. Dear Santa, thank you for bringing Daddy home last year. You were right. It was the best Christmas miracle ever. I don't need anything else. I have Papa and Daddy and soon a baby. That's everything. But if you want to bring a baby home every Christmas forever, that would be okay too. Love, Zoe. P.S. Papa and Daddy are kissing again. Alphas and omegas are weird. The end. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this story, let me know in the comments, and feel free to share it with a friend who might love it too. See you in the next story.